Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into something that's absolutely critical in international trade, how to create an invoice for a documentary credit that's perfect. Now, if you get this right, you get paid on time, simple as that. But if you get it wrong, well, that's when millions of dollars can get stuck in limbo.
So that sounds a little dramatic, doesn't it? A single typo halting a huge deal? But believe me, it's absolutely true. In the world of trade finance, the commercial invoice isn't just a bill. It's a cornerstone of the whole transaction. One tiny error, a small discrepancy, can cause a chain reaction of payment delays, rejected documents, and some serious headaches for everyone involved. But hey, don't worry. That's exactly why we're here. We're going to break it all down and demystify this whole process for you. By the time we're done, you'll know exactly what the banks are looking for, and you'll have the confidence to put together an invoice that just sails right through the system. No hitches, no problems. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about why this invoice is such a big deal. Then, we'll build a compliance checklist you can use every single time. After that, we'll put on a new hat and learn to think like a banker. We'll also cover the common mistakes so you can avoid them, and we'll wrap it all up with a simple invoice master plan. All right, let's kick things off with the fundamentals. What is it about this one document that gives it so much power in the world of global trade? Let's find out. At its very core, a commercial invoice is really straightforward. It's just a bill. The seller sends it to the buyer, and it says, hey, here are the goods I sent you, and this is how much you owe me. You know, for the seller, it's money coming in. For the buyer, it's money going out. Simple enough, right? But, and this is a big but, the moment you introduce a documentary credit, that simple bill gets a major promotion. It becomes the cornerstone, the main document that connects the physical goods being shipped to the bank's legal promise to pay. It's the bridge between the product and the payment, and that's exactly why every single detail on it gets put under a microscope. Okay, let's get into the really practical stuff now. I want you to think of this next section as your ultimate cheat sheet for getting your invoice right, every single time. Let's build your compliance checklist together. Let's start with the 3 absolute non-negotiables. According to the official banking rules, they're called UCP 600. The invoice has to be issued by the seller, made out to the buyer, and it must be in the exact same currency as the credit. If you get any of these basics wrong, your document is pretty much dead on arrival. Now, let's talk about the single biggest reason invoices get rejected: the goods description. This is so important. Unlike other documents where you might have a little wiggle room, the invoice demands perfection. The description has to be a perfect word-for-word mirror image of what's written in the documentary credit. No summarizing, no paraphrasing. Exactly the same. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The people who write the banking rules literally call this one of the most rigorous, most exact standards in the entire system. That's why the best advice is also the simplest. Just copy and paste. I'm serious. Copy the description directly from the credit and paste it onto your invoice. It's the only guaranteed way to be compliant on this point. Here are a few more key rules that can sometimes trip people up. First, and this one surprises a lot of people, an invoice doesn't actually need to be signed. Second, make sure your invoice isn't titled pro forma or provisional unless the credit specifically says that's okay. And third, you can invoice for more than the credit amount, but just be aware the bank is only going to pay up to the maximum limit set in the credit. Okay, so we've got the rules down. But to truly become a pro at this, you need to step into the shoes of the person on the other side of the transaction, the bank's document examiner. So let's learn how to think like a banker. This right here is the golden rule. Banks deal with documents, not with actual products. They will never see, touch, or check the cargo in the shipping container. Their entire decision is based on one thing. Do the documents on their face look like they follow the rules? To the bank, the data on the paper is the reality. Now, this is a subtle but super important point. We just said the goods description has to be identical, right? Well, for other data on the documents, the rule is a little different. It doesn't have to be identical, but it must not conflict. This is what we call the consistency principle. A small variation is often fine as long as it doesn't contradict information anywhere else. Let's look at a quick example. On the left, if the credit says ABC Company and the invoice says ABC Co., that's generally okay. It's a common abbreviation and it doesn't create a conflict. But look at the right. The invoice says 500 metric tons, but the bill of lading says 502. See the problem? That's a direct conflict. That is a discrepancy, and that will get your documents rejected. So now that we understand the rules and the mindset of the bank examiner, let's focus on the most common traps that people fall into. Knowing what to watch out for is half the battle won. The most frequent mistakes nearly always come back to that idea of consistency. A classic one is having the consignee's name on the invoice be slightly different from the bill of lading. Another one is conflicting numbers, like that weight example we just saw. And finally, you have to resist the urge to add extra little helpful words to the goods description. Even if you mean well, you might accidentally create a brand new problem. Woof, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's pull all of this great information together into a simple, actionable master plan that you can use to guide you to success. This table right here is your new best friend. Let's recap. For the goods description, do copy it exactly. For the invoice title, don't use pro forma unless you get the okay. For the signature, do leave it unsigned. And most importantly, for data consistency, do make sure everything lines up across all your documents. Follow these simple rules and you are good to go. You know, when it all comes down to it, it's really about 3 words: clarity, precision, and consistency. If you make these 3 things your guiding principles whenever you prepare documents, you'll eliminate those frustrating discrepancies and make sure that your payments are always smooth and on time. Okay, so we've gone through all the rules and best practices. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's the biggest challenge or the most frustrating thing you've ever faced when you were preparing an invoice for a documentary credit? Go ahead and share your experiences in the comments below. I'm really interested to read them. And of course, if this explainer was helpful for you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into how global trade works. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.